Right, the introductory music sort of stopped just on time. Hello, good afternoon from the UAE. Welcome everyone to Building Bridges Between Nations and Cultures Through Creativity. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is the last session in Ishfaqat Festival. We also are very honored to be hosting this festival as Ministry of Tolerance and Coexistence. And we are honored to introduce Mr. Michael Pazinas, who's a professional learning specialist, to be taking us through this session and guiding us in how to create opportunities for meaningful conversations around tolerance, around diversity and multiculturalism. Without further ado, Mr. Michael, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Zahra. I hope you can hear me all okay, and slide showing hopefully as well at the same time. I'm really honoured to be here. Thank you very much. And what I'd like to do today is this is aimed at other educators out there, and I'd like to present a framework that you can use at your school or your educational institution, whatever that might be, to help you really have discussions around race and equality. So that's the kind of the main aim behind it. My name is Michael Pazinas, and I am a specialist in Pedagogical Innovation and Effectiveness at the Centre of Educational Innovation at Zayed University, but I'm also an Apple professional learning specialist. And my role here today is to help you think about equality and race and the technology that you can use in class with your students to help create a learning experience around this theme. I usually help faculty design innovative learning experiences and innovative technology in their classroom. And this is hopefully an interactive presentation in that I'd like you to take part in it, in the conversation as much as possible as we're moving along. So I don't just want to be the only one person talking. So if you could, if at any point you can turn your cameras on, that would be fantastic as well. Getting eye contact is really good with participants. I understand that some of you might not be able to do that, so that's okay. So, okay, let's think about this a little bit further. So the question here is, how do you create opportunities for ongoing conversations about racial equality and justice at your school? And classrooms, if you think about classrooms around the world, they're really subsets of the broader communities that they serve. And we're lucky to be in a country where, you know, we have a lot of the time we have very multicultural classes. We have people all around the world in this space. It's like a microcosmos. One of the best ways to make an immediate impact by expanding students' perspective is to look around them, and listening to different perspectives really helps us to pause and reflect on our own views. So to begin the journey of making lasting change in a positive way, we need to explore ways to have quite courageous conversations around the issues of things like racial injustice, and really to design solutions that lead to lasting social change. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through a challenge. We call the challenge Build Bridges Between Nations and Cultures Through Creativity. But I think what you'll find is, as we're walking along this challenge, that you'll find that there are other skills that people use as well, like collaboration and teamwork, critical thinking and problem solving. We all like to talk about those skills, don't we, at schools. And when I walk into schools and educational institutions, a lot of the time I see great big posters up on the wall with these words on them. But actually getting to do these things in the classroom is actually quite difficult. And sometimes when we're looking at this particular topic, we have sometimes we might feel a little bit uncomfortable talking about certain issues. So it's important when we're thinking about these things really to lean into our vulnerabilities as well. So I'd like to start off with some vocabulary, really, that we can start using, and just go through those very quickly. One of them is equity, recognizing that the same thing for everyone doesn't truly address needs, and therefore specific solutions and remedies, which may be different for different people, are really necessary. Another word is equality. We often hear this word equality, which means that everyone has the same rights, opportunities, and resources. And it really stresses fairness and parity in access to social goods and services. Another one is, of course, race. It's a category into which society places individuals on the basis of their physical appearance, such as their skin color, their hair type, facial form, even their eye shape. And racism, this marginalization or oppression, really, of people of color based on a socially constructed racial hierarchy that privileges white people in general. Bias is an inclination or preference either for or against an individual or a group that interferes with impartial judgment. Another word that often comes up, and might be a word that you want to bring up in your classroom, is this word microaggressions. These are the everyday slights, the indignities that put people down, the insults that put people of color down, women population and other populations and marginalized people that experience their day-to-day interactions. Microaggressions can appear to be compliments sometimes, but often contain meta communication or hidden insults to the target group. And another word is inclusion, and is a commitment to respecting and representing and really accepting diverse social groups and identities. And it creates an environment where all people can feel like they belong. And I will give you some links later on so that you can have a look at this, because it is quite a lot to take in when it comes to vocabulary around this. However, I should also caution that, sometimes we need to have a really good look at these resources before we start distributing them to our students. We need to make sure that they're appropriate for our context as well. So I wanted just to make that very clear from the outset. So what we're going to do today is look at a framework, challenge-based learning framework, to help organize thoughts and ask questions, and really to conduct and synthesize research in order to design a solution. So this is the kind of pedagogical framework that we're looking at, that can really start not just with things like racial injustice or trying to build bridges across different nations, but also for other subject areas as well. So we kind of start off this. The main theme is, of course, going to talk about race while we're looking at this as the example, but you could use this with other ideas as well. So the first thing is really to connect and engage with people. So we generally do this with a big idea, and you consider the impact on you personally. You consider new viewpoints, and you focus on a challenge's call to action. So it's called challenge-based learning because basically we are going to challenge students to actually do something, okay? And that's the whole idea behind it, not just to talk about it or imagine a scenario, but actually to change something. And it could be something small, could be something in their school, could be something in their community. And with the internet, it could be something a lot bigger than that. But the idea is to go through a process where people are thinking. So it starts off with engagement. I'm going to go into each one of these in a little bit more detail. Connect with a big idea, consider the impact it has on you personally. You consider other viewpoints and focus on what the challenge is asking you to do, or what you decide the challenge is going to be. The next part is to do the investigation. And what will happen is when you go through the engage part, you're going to have some questions. And so these questions are going to be questions that you're going to want to research, you're going to want to analyze your findings, and you want to find something that will help you define a solution. So that's what the combination of all this is to eventually come up with a solution to the challenge that you're going to set people. And your investigation is the last part, in the second part, will form the foundation for your action. So your investigation will help you define what your solution is going to be. And it may be personal or something that impacts you, the broader community. And you can never stop defining the solution. So you have to really put it into action. So if we think about these different areas, so questions that you might want to ask in the engage stages: why is this something that I should care about? Why does it matter to me or my community? What do I need to know to help me better understand this so that I can evaluate what to do? This would be in the investigation part. And then based on what I've learned, what specific actions can I, or most probably in a group, we will take to make a difference? So if we look at the engage part in a bit more detail, you'll identify and connect with a big idea. You'll personalize it by creating key questions known as essential questions, and then formulate a challenge, which is a call to action. The big idea is the universal theme or the concept that can be explored in multiple different ways, and is important to you and your class. Okay, so it's going to be important to both of them. What happens then is you get essential questions, and these questions help guide your thinking to inform possible solutions. You choose one question that you connect with the most. That's the question that they're going to go with. And you might have different groups in your class looking at different things, and they might feel passionate about different things that come out, out of the big idea. And to finish with, we have a challenge. So the essential question really becomes a call for action. So let's look at what this looks like with our example. We often have to gather the courage to begin a conversation about racial equity and justice. Okay, so this would be the big idea. And an essential question that might come out of this would be, how do we participate in an open and honest discussion or conversation about racial equity and justice? How do we go about this? If we are expecting to build bridges between nations and cultures through our community and through creativity, we need to answer these questions first. How do we participate in these honest discussions about equity and justice? So that could be a theme that you take on. It doesn't have to be that. There are other themes within racial equality and justice that you might want to talk about. And so from that, you think about a challenge, and you can do this together with your students, or you can think about your challenge yourself, because you might want to scaffold it a little bit more. You can do that yourself. Generally, what we try and do is we try and formulate a challenge for the class, and we do that together with the students. And so the last part is the challenge. So in this case, it might be, how do we create, or it always starts off with an action verb. So it's something like create opportunities for meaningful conversations about race. Okay, so that's the type of thing that we would look at. Now, determining your guiding questions for a solution, let's have a look at the next part, from engage, which is investigate. So the next part is really to investigate, identify questions known as the guiding questions. And guiding questions are what you need to know to begin to create a solution to the challenge. So you could explore, these are sample guiding questions, but you might want to think about other guiding questions as well. So these are the types of things that you really want to think about. So in this case, we might think about, what terms or concepts do I need to explore? So this becomes the basis of their research. This becomes the basis of their investigation. How do I help identify acts of racial injustice? How can I become a better listener during difficult conversations? What barriers prevent me from engaging in conversations? Those kinds of questions. Now, you don't have to do this in a very boring way. You can also use a lot of creativity in the way that you do this. And students can get creative with drawing and photography and video to answer these questions, or to even talk about these questions, or music. They might want to think about creating a documentary. You can really go into a lot of detail with this, and I'm going to give you some resources to help you do all of that. And you might even do a music video, it could be any kind of thing, to ask your guiding questions in a short video or a poster or creative expression. So of some sort. Now, you're going to want to do that in some kind of format. And what I'm going to share with you right now, I'm going to go through the process a little bit, and then I'm going to share how to do it. Okay, so the next part really is thinking about your research questions. So once you've got the guiding questions, the next part is to investigate, is to really research what those questions come with. And like I said, those questions can be anything. Okay, you are the ones that are deciding what your challenge is going to be. They need to be related to the challenge. So now you have your guiding questions, you're ready to begin your research. So here you would think about, well, how am I going to research this stuff? Okay, and you can, if the questions are quite high level, you can also bring those down. Those questions, they don't have to be super complex, high level questions. You can bring them down, obviously, to the age group or level of the students that you think is appropriate. You're going to have guiding questions. You're going to begin your research, but you might want to do other things. You might want to interview different people. And this would be a fantastic idea when it comes to race. Who could you interview to get answers to some of those questions that you've raised? What other perspectives are there out there? And you can capture the activities and the resources you'll need to answers in one place. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. One great resource, apart from doing things like interviews, now often we find that the internet, can be a big place, not always appropriate for students to go and try and do some investigating. But with racial injustice in particular, there's a really great resource that I'd like to share with you that's really aimed at children. Again, you always veer on the end of caution here, because you want to make sure that it's okay for your cultural context as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share my iPad and show you a quick app that would be really, really great. I'm going to tell you about it first and then go into it a little bit. It's a really great app that you can go into to do a lot of research. It's actually called Epic. Epic is free for teachers. I'm going to show you Epic shortly. Epic is free for teachers. It's actually a paid for thing for students if they want to read the books, but what you can do is you can actually read the stories yourself to the students as well. And there are other things that you can do with it, like screen capturing or and annotating on different books, or you might want to do a video of a reading. You can do that as well. I'm going to show you how to do that shortly. So you need to look at the resources to make sure, like I said, they're appropriate for your context. And great resources are really great, a really good way to start with. And I'm going to share with you, a handout from Apple that you can use, which has lots of links at the end. So you don't need to worry about, you won't need to worry about taking notes here while I'm talking. Okay. So the other part of this journey, so once they've done their research, is once you've completed the research, they'll need to evaluate and prioritize what the solutions, what they're going to, what's important, what information is important to them, and this will eventually lead them towards their solution, to the solution challenge. So you might want to look at questions. So now I've established the most important themes in the challenge after I've done my investigation, and the key points that can help me inform my call to action. What I want to do to answer this problem. Okay, so how do I set up meaningful conversations at my school? I've found ways to feel safe asking puzzling questions. Okay, and it's often difficult when you're asking somebody of another race certain questions. You're not sure if they're going to be offended by what you ask them, but by investigating this before you do that and finding out ways, then it really is going to help with making sure that racial equality is something that you prioritize. You might think, oh, I've identified, or the students might think, I've identified how my research does or doesn't align with my perceptions. So maybe I've been thinking about something and it's been wrong all this time. I now know that it's different to what I thought it was. So that's also important to ask. I've determined who I can reach out for help, because a lot of the time when we look at racial injustice, a lot of the time it's the people that are inflicting that actually need the help because they don't understand maybe certain concepts. But by doing that, I'm not saying there's an excuse for it. I'm just saying that we need to do as much as we can to enable to educate people so that they know how to talk to different people. You've discovered other thoughts and ideas, and that should be considered. I've connected to something in my personal experience that I can use to inform my call to action as well. So once you've done that, then it's time to act on it. And that's really the last part of, is the final step. And like I said, I've got a handout that I can give to you, which has all of this in it. So with the final step, it's time to define your solution to the challenge. So think about things like a challenge can have many solutions to them, okay? And maybe you've got subgroups in your class. You want to make sure that those subgroups, you might want to give a different challenge, or they might want to develop a different challenge between them. It doesn't have to be all the same challenge. And this keeps more people involved, engaged, and interested in the outcome as well. And from a teacher's perspective, this is great, because I said that kids, when they're going through this, are actually involved in teamwork, critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and personalizing their learning as well. So now it's time to share how you came to your solution and the result of putting it into action. And you can use creativity to express the impact of your solution through videos or poems or drawings and photos. And these are an excellent way of sharing, with technology today, you can really share that with the world. So based on, these are the types of prompts that you need at this point. Based on what I've learned from my investigation, I propose the following solution. Okay, or you might want to think, what actionable evidence do I have? What have I found out from my research? What evidence have I got that's measurable? What's impactful? What can really help me with that? Are there some like statistics that I found out that are really, really powerful that can help with the this story? And also defining what success means when you finish that. And also, how are you planning to get to that solution? That's another aspect of this. How are you planning to get to that solution? Okay, I've done enough talking now. Let me do some showing now as well, how you can actually put this into action. So just to recap, if I go back to this, slide as well, remember that we engage the students first. We're going through this journey and engage the students first. And that's by giving them an essential question, thinking of a big idea. We develop some essential questions in the investigate phase, and then we go and get them to research and then create something as a solution to that. Now, you're going to need somewhere where you can gather all of this stuff up. So let me just stop sharing this here. And you might want to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my iPad with you at the moment. Okay. So you're going to want to share, you're going to want to have somewhere where you can share all of this stuff, okay? And you can collaborate on one kind of document. So hopefully you can see my iPad now. And one great place that you can do this is in Numbers, okay? And what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to get rid of these here. I'm actually going to share this document with you as a collaborative document. So I'm just going to make a copy of that right now. So I'm just going to go and make a quick copy, duplicate that. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the copy with you. So I have a clean copy as well. Now, I'm in a Numbers document. And Numbers is, for those of you who don't know, Numbers is the equivalent of Excel on the iPad. It's actually a much more powerful tool. It doesn't really look like a spreadsheet tool, but it is actually a spreadsheet tool, but it's also really, really great for doing collaboration with it. So what I've done here, very easily, I've just pressed on the plus sign up on the left-hand side here, and I've created 3 tabs, one tab for each one of the stages that I want my students to go through. And then I've just put some text in here and just added some pictures as well. Now, it's very easy to add text and pictures. You just need to go up to the plus sign up here. And on the right-hand side here, you can add pie charts and tables and shapes. And then if you go to the media button, you get lots and lots of different options that you can put into a spreadsheet, which is really surprising. I mean, there are some things here. If I wanted to, for example, I could put a photo in here, or I could put in, I can take a picture directly from the app. I don't need to go in and take a separate picture and put that in there. So just remember that when you want to add something to something like this, you just need to go to the plus sign. If your students have iPads as well, they can do exactly the same thing. Maybe you want to record some audio. You can record some audio really, really quickly. That would be quite good as well. If we're talking about equality, we want to make sure that everybody can access this. So that's a really good way of doing, including people with, or students with disabilities. You want to make sure that sometimes you might want to put some extra things in, like audio. So if I wanted to put some audio in, I can just press the audio and then just record something. So this page is about engagement. We're going to talk about racial equality and justice. That's the big idea. And the essential question that I'm going to ask you is, how do we participate in open and honest conversations about racial equality and justice? So your challenge is to create opportunities for meaningful conversations about race. How are you going to do that? Okay, and I can stop the recording and I can go to the top right-hand corner and insert that. And now I have a recording of what I expect to do. It makes it a lot more personable as well as we're doing this. So that's my engage part. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to have a look at the investigate area here. And I've got some essential questions. Now, what you might want to do is you might want to invite students to add essential questions here as well. So what I'm going to show you here is the fact that you can collaborate on this document a bit like you would on other platforms, but you can do that here. What I'm going to try and do is I'm actually going to copy the link here, which allows people to access this spreadsheet. 1 second, sorry. Just want to make sure that I've got the right share options on. So I want to make sure that anybody with the link can come to this spreadsheet, because I want to invite you all. And I also want to make sure that you can make changes to this as well. So you might want to come in and you might want to add something. And I encourage you to come into this spreadsheet that I've opened up and put in your ideas here if you like. So what other guiding questions you might want to think about, or you can just play around and put some pictures in if you like, just to see how it works. Remember that you go to the plus sign. The nice thing with this is that even if you don't have an iPad or Apple technology, it works in, albeit a limited way, online as well. So if you have a Dell computer or an Android device, you can use that as well. So let me add you to this. So I'm just going to copy the link here. So I want to make sure that anyone with the link can do this and they can make changes. And I'm just going to copy the link. And what I'm going to do is just going to start the collaboration. And because I've copied it on my iPad, I should be able to, I don't think I'm allowed to paste it in here. Let's have a look. No, it's not letting me. Let me try again. So I'm copying the link. Let's see if it will paste in here. No, I don't think Zoom is allowing me to paste. Okay, so you won't be able to come on here. So anyway, what you would do is you would generate a link, and then I would invite you to this, and you would be able to join. It was a shame that we can't. It's not allowing the chat in Zoom. It's not allowing me to paste in the link for some reason. I have no idea why. Let's see if I can do it some other way. Okay, so there you should have a link now that you can go. So if you've got the link, you should be able to tap into it and have a look. And I should be able to see if people are joining on here. Let's see if some of you can join with the link. Anybody joining? Is there anybody there? Have you been able to?
I'm trying to join. It's just
Yeah.
still loading. Right.
It might take a little while.
Yeah, I just got it.
Okay, well, I'll carry on and you'll be able to see that anyway when you get in there. Okay. So, yeah, I can see that Zahra's joined. Here we go. So you can start adding questions here if you want to, Zahra, depending on the tab that you've got open. Okay, so we've got that. And the last part is really an action plan. So what I've done here is I've created, Zahra, will you have, just a quick question for you. Will you have a list of participants? Could I send something to you and you could pass it on to them? Is that possible?
Yeah, I think someone has it, not me specifically.
All right, but you'll be able to.
But yeah,
if I prepared some files for you, would I be able to send them to you and then send them on?
Yeah. So Michael, if you want to send that to the email that I sent you, you
can,
I will do. And I can share that.
Okay, and I'll share all the resources with you, Yasmin, so you could forward those on. Okay.
Exactly. That'd be perfect.
Okay, great. Okay, so if we go back to this, what I've got here is for you, and I've got a template. I've got a template up here for you as well. Students can actually come up with an action plan as well, so they can put their goals, types of tasks that they want to do, success criteria, time frame, and resources. Okay, so this really takes you through the 3 different stages that I talked about with racial equality and justice. Okay, so I'm just going to come out of this and let's go and have a look at how we can create some videos, maybe a call to action. Maybe we've got some questions that we want to ask the research, the essential questions. Maybe we want to make a video of that. We can make a very quick video. Sorry, let me just... we can make a very quick video of different essential questions that we might want to ask. And so that's what I'm going to do now. And to do that, I'm going to use an app called Clips, which is a really, really easy app to use. Okay, so I'm going to go to Clips. Now, Clips looks like, if I type in, I'm just going to use a search here. I'm just going to drag my finger in the middle of the iPad and just use a search, because I've got quite a few apps on here. And maybe I want to use something like Clips. Okay, I'm going to put that in there. And here is a video. You can see that I'm not really in space. I'm on a green screen here behind me in a horrible office. So what you can see is my screen here, and I can start adding, I can start making a small video. It's really, really easy to make the video. I can add a poster, and I'm going to do that right now. So I'm going to add a poster. I'm going to add the poster by going to the little picture icon here and going to posters. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one of these posters from here. So I'm going to put this poster in. It's just going to download. Hopefully, the internet always plays badly. Let's try one that I've already downloaded, perhaps. Let's try that one. There you go. Okay, so I'm just going to use this as a poster. I double tap into that. And I'm going to start writing something. So I'm going to put essential questions about race and equality. So I'm going to put that in, and then press enter. Oops. Sorry. And what I need to do now is I need to record that. So I need to press the red button. Oops, I've got a bit of a space there. Let's take that out. And I need to press the red button to record it. Okay, and I can talk at the same time as I'm doing this. Essential questions about race and equality. Okay, so I've got that into my video now. I'm just going to go up to the X in the left-hand corner and just get rid of that. Okay, and then I'm going to start asking some questions, and I can talk into the video here. Now, what I might want to do is I might want to put some subtitles on underneath so that people that are maybe deaf can have a look at the video as well. So I want to be as inclusive as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that by going to the little star shape here. And I'm going to go to the subtitles, and I'm going to pick a subtitle style. I quite like this one here. By the way, I can do this in different languages. You see that this at the bottom here says English, but if I tap on English at the bottom, I've got absolutely hundreds of languages that I could use, including Arabic, and very obscure languages like my other language, Greek. You can put different languages in here and do this in different languages. It's really quite cool. So I've picked out some subtitles that I want to use, and now I'm going to record. So I'm going to ask a few essential questions here. The first question is, how can we have a common vocabulary about race? How can we have a common vocabulary about race? So you'll notice that it picked up what I was saying. So I'm just going to tap into that part. You see, notice at the bottom here, there are two clips. One of them was the title page, and the other one was the recording that I just made. And I'm going to make this a very short recording, but you get the idea. The idea is to put lots of clips in as well. And now the problem is with that, if I go into the effects for a second and go into edit text, you'll notice here. So I've tapped on the clip. There wasn't a question mark on the end because it doesn't recognize questions. So I'm just going to pop one in here and then press enter. So now when I play that part of the video, how can we have a common vocabulary about race? So you can get really, really creative with that. And you can also put some music on as well while you're talking in the background by just going up to the top right-hand corner and going to soundtracks. And maybe you want quite a serious sounding, you might want something serious in the background. I don't know if you can. Let's try this one. This one. Don't know if you can hear that. Let me just make sure that you can. Yeah, you can. Okay, so I'm going to choose that one and just press done. So I did that just by going to the top right hand corner of the app. And that's where all the soundtracks are. So now when I play, essential questions about race and equality. How can we have a common vocabulary about race? So you can see, you can start adding different things to that. You can add pictures to that. If I go into here, I can add photos in there. I can add another videos. I can add videos in there. I can put in things like posters, which I showed you, and then we can start building up a video, and that will really engage students and get them getting quite creative. So I just wanted to show you that. So just remember that I showed you how to collaborate on something like Numbers, which is a really great app that Apple has that allows this collaboration. And then you've got this one here, which is basically a nice creativity app where you can make videos. Now, what I'm now going to share with you is a bunch of resources, because this is just the tip of the iceberg on how you can do this effectively and with really great impact. So I'm just going to come out of this app. And I'm going to show you a few resources that you can use that is going to help you to develop this a little bit further. So I've got a couple of questions here. Okay, so the questions are, can you write macros? No, you can't write macros. It's not a super duper spreadsheet app. It's a spreadsheet app, but that's not what the purpose is of it. It's more of a creative app, I would say. It does spreadsheet functions, and it has functionality as a spreadsheet. It does graphs and tables, and you can put formulae in them and stuff like this. But macros in particular are a bit more advanced, and I'd use something like Excel, which you can also use on the iPad as well for that.
So, Michael, I have another question from somebody here asking.
Sure.
So is this like, because it's more of like a creative one, is it comparable to like, because there's to like Canva? or something like that? No.
No, I mean, they are, all of these apps are creativity apps. It depends on how you use them, but they're also, if I go back into this one, they're also spreadsheets as well. So if I go in here and press plus on here, there are lots of templates here. You can see how they've been used as spreadsheets. It's just that they're really, really flexible. So you can go in here, you can do infographics like Canva on them, but you'll notice that, that they are, they're typically spreadsheets as well. So it acts like a spreadsheet. So yeah, you can use them as spreadsheets, but macros is a little bit kind of quite high up on the list. Yeah.
I don't know. These are, I'm trying, So the other question was then, does it integrate with any other applications or?
So it opens up Excel spreadsheets. So it will open up anything in Excel.
Oh, okay. So
and all of these apps here. So for example, we have another app called Pages, which is a word processing app that will open up Word documents, and Keynote, which I showed, I haven't shown you, but Keynote can open up PowerPoint as well, and you can export them as PowerPoints as well. Actually, in the Pages app, which I haven't shown you, I mean, if I start getting into these, we're going to really run out of time very, very quickly. But what I am going to do is I'm going to share some resources where you can find out a lot more about these different apps and other things that you can do. I just wanted to tell you, like Pages, let me show you something quickly in Pages that you can do that would help with, let's say you're doing a dialogue and you're doing this documentary, okay, and you want to do a bit of a dialogue in there. I don't know if you've noticed, like when you're on the news, for example, and you see people reading an auto scroll. Have you seen that working?
Yeah.
Okay, so what you can do with this is, if I just put in a quick dialogue, let's put in, hello, my name is Michael, and today, in fact, I don't know why I'm typing. I could just talk to it. I am going to speak to you about race and equality. Full stop. I think that race and equality are a very important topic that you should all be talking about. Okay, made a couple of mistakes there, but you get the idea. I've got some text here. Now, what I can do really quickly is I can go up to this in 3 buttons here. And there's a thing called presenter mode. And what that does, it actually acts like an auto scroll. So you see, even though it's not Word, it opens up Word documents, but it does other things that Word doesn't do. So it's something that you might want to think about when you're looking at these different apps. And they're all free, by the way, if you have an iPad. Now, we've talked about the framework. We've talked about the different processes, how to go around and do all of this stuff. But what I want to share with you now, which I think is really, really important, are some of the resources where you can get really creative with this stuff, okay? And learn about the apps as well at the same time. So I'm going to take you to books, and I'm going to take you to books is the reading app here. I'm going to put in the words create, and I'm going to go into video because I want to show you what you can do. So this book here, and like I said, I will send an email back to Yasmin with all of these resources here for you. But I want to show you these great free resources that you can get from Apple that really do different things. This is called Everyone Can Create. And by the way, there's a teacher's book that accompanies this with over 300 integration ideas for different topics, from science to math, and it embeds creativity in different subject areas. 300 in total, different ideas that you can use. And there's also a special teacher's book for young learners as well. So if you teach young learners, there's a really great book. Again, I will share all those resources with Yasmin, with all the links and everything, and you can get a hold of those. I just want to show you this one. This is really great. This is the video book, and you can see how you can make these different videos, including, let me just bring up the contents page here, and you'll be able to see. So there's one called The First Movie. There's one, you can make silent movies. You can do storyboarding. You can do tutorials, documentaries, mobile reports. You can talk about special effects. All of this is on your iPad, by the way, just on your iPad, free apps on your iPad. Short film production, and then some additional resources at the top here. Let me take you into one of the chapters. I'm going to take you into documentaries. Okay, so in documentaries, it basically goes through how to make a documentary, particularly useful if you're doing one on race and equality. You know, you've got people that you want to interview, you want to bring that in and really bring that to life. So this is what I would use, something like this. And you can go through these different activities, and it also shows you how to frame different things, how people would talk, where you can sit, where you position the camera, types of questions that you would ask in an interview. It goes through the whole process. It even has example videos in the book as well, where you can actually have a look at this. Maybe video making is not your thing. I mean, there's lots of different types of video making in here. So when we ask kids to make a video, we don't just ask them to make a video. We get them to make a documentary, or we get them to make an interview or something like this. We never just ask them to make a video. If I go into the music book, music book's really cool. What you can do with the music book, maybe they want to make a soundtrack of some sort. If you go into the music book, you can make a podcast. So you could do one on race and equality. You could do a podcast on that. Or you might want to, so I show you chords and melodies, post-production. Let's have a look. Okay, it shows you about different instruments, and you can use GarageBand, which is another free app, and it's a really, really nice, easy app to use, and you can really create your own music. And there's lots of world instruments in there as well. So if you were investigating things like culture, different cultures, there are lots of instruments in there from all around the world that you might want to investigate in here as well. So it's really, really a creative process. All of these books are absolutely fantastic in the way that they approach this. And like I said, there's a whole series of them. If I show you the whole series here. And they all, I'm not sure I understand. It's my watch speaking, apologies. Everyone can create. You'll see there's a whole bunch of books here. Here is the teacher's book. You see all of them here. So you can see the teacher's book is just here, teacher guide. Okay, and I don't want to see the new version now, but what you can see here is if I go into the first, by the way, there's loads of resources actually in the books as well. You'll see that there, after each chapter, there are integration ideas like math, literacy and literature, history and social studies, science and coding. So they teach you something, and then you can integrate that straight into your lesson. So what I'm going to do, I think we're running out of time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that you get all the links to all of that stuff. If you have iPad, you've got all of this already for free. All the resources, all the apps you need, including a guide on racial equality and justice to help build bridges among nations and cultures. So that was the whole concept. I'm going to give you that guide. I'm going to also give you the numbers template that I was using earlier as well, so that you can do that collaboration with your students and have fun with this. And I really think that you're going to enjoy investigating this topic. It really truly is superb. Does anybody have any questions for me at this point?
Well, Michael, I have a question. So but this is it only to be used on iPad?
Yes. That's
what
the
about
caveat.
the new iPhone? Like, can you not use it on your iPhone?
Well, actually, yes, you can use it on your iPhone. So if you have an iPhone, if you have an Apple device, you can use it. So whatever Apple device you have. So if you have an iPhone, you can use these things on iPhone. Pages, Keynote, and Numbers and GarageBand are all on your iPhone as well. You just need to go to the App Store and download them. All of the links are in the book as well. If you have an iPad, it's the same thing. If you have a Mac, you can do exactly the same thing. As long as it's an Apple product, you can do all of this is for free. So you just need an Apple product.
So the other question I have here is that if you're using it, let's say you're using your iPad, but you also have a Microsoft, like can it not be can you not then, it wouldn't work on both?
So the apps only work on an iPad, okay, or an Apple device. The apps will only work on an Apple device. However, you can share your products with other devices. So for example, if you want to make an interactive book in Pages, so you can do that in Pages. If I went into Pages and showed you very quickly, okay, I can go into Pages and I'm just going to make a new book from a template. There are templates in here that you can use. So let's say I want to make a textbook. I can open up a textbook. It's downloading from the internet. That's why it's not a bit slow. My internet's not too fast. Okay, and this is a template for a book, which, like I said to you, it's the same as Numbers. You can add photos, you can add audio, you can even add a web video, so you can add YouTube videos in here directly. And then you get that document and you export it. So if I export that,
then you can use it.
Yeah, then I can export it to an EPUB. However, if I exported it to Word, it would lose all of its functionality because Word doesn't support it.
Of course, yeah. Okay. And then one last thing, like actually I have a few questions. But
I'm happy to stay on and answer.
Yeah. So another question was, is this adaptable to students as well? Like, is it, I mean, it seems easy enough to use for students. So I guess,
yeah. It's really easy. It's really easy to use. And I don't know if you've noticed, but at the top here, there are little icons on absolutely everything. So you can actually see those. It's really useful for students because we have really young students using these and they don't have to understand the words. Am I showing you my iPad at the moment?
So right now, yeah, I still see the the
iPad, yeah. So that's they're really easy to use. It's not difficult. You can do screen recording as well on here, by the way. So if I showed you something like Epic, which I showed you earlier, and I didn't actually go in here. Here's a book from Epic. If I go into my class, whoops, it's out of school hours, so I can't do it. But you notice there was a big collection of books. What you can do is you can go into there and you can actually put screen recording on, which is this button here, and you can actually read a story and record that as a video.
And that's using the very same app.
Yeah, so it's actually, this is the app, but this is universal to all apps. So you can do this in any app. There's a screen recording button just there.
Yeah, I learned that.
Yeah.
Just a while back. I've always used Apple products. I only just learned that.
Yeah, and you can record things and you can post those to other people. You can make YouTube videos very quickly from your iPad or your iPhone, and you can upload those. Unfortunately, it is only for Apple products. That's the catch. But you can see that it's very easy to use. And the reason why is because Apple, as you know, make the software and the hardware, and they put it together, and this is the best experience. So that's why they don't port it to other systems, because they can't guarantee the user experience, whereas on their own devices, they can guarantee it. That's the reason behind it. But you can export things and give things to people. So you could export a multi-touch book and they could open that up in an Android device. Okay. I will share all of the resources with you.
Okay. Because one more question from someone is, if they, so after downloading that, like after downloading this and getting it running, if they have more questions or if they want more, like where do they go to get more help? Like, do they go to the Apple store? Do they call you? Like, how do they get more assistance in it?
Okay, I will give you my email regardless, which you can share with people.
So I have that, yeah, okay.
Yeah, you can share that with people. And also what I'll do additionally is I will share some resources with you with all these different links in there that will help, okay?
All right, that's perfect, because yeah, we actually, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share a little bit of this recording to everybody, and then I'll also share the resources that Michael sends to me, and then the remaining questions, because there seems to be quite a few questions and they're quite, like they need a lot of elaborating, like a lot of technical stuff, honestly.
Okay.
So if I send that to you, would you be able to like answer some of the questions, and then I could share your email where they could get?
Yeah, I'm very happy. Afterwards. I'm very happy to answer any questions. I can hang on for a little while.
Because you do because here's one of the one second. Let me read this one. So do you do private sessions for this stuff? Training?
Well, yeah, like, as an Apple professional learning specialist, we do training through this.
Okay, perfect.
But you can contact me from this, and then I can tell you all about that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Michael, for being part of this, and thank you everybody who attended. It's been an amazing experience. Thank you so much. This is actually helpful, like even for myself. I feel like this is very beneficial even for businesses or for teachers or for parents or students putting on presentations. Like it's perfect.
Yeah, and like I said, I'll share all the resources with you.
Yeah.
There are lots of links and to take advantage of, and very happy to communicate with anybody that wants to take this any further and really take it to their school, go beyond that.
Because you do school visits, so you also do school sessions as well. You can do that.
Mostly online, but yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. But you're not coming with a new iPhone like to schools. Everybody needs to know that he's not coming with iPad.
No, I don't do that. I'm not an Apple employee, so I can't do any of that stuff anyway.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Michael, for being with us. And this was our final event for the Tolerance English Learning Week, and we hope to see you all soon again. Thank you.
Take care, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you.